Scripture reading this morning is from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 55, and we're reading two separate sections. We're reading verses 1 to 3 and 6 through 13, found on page 685 in your pew Bible. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you that have no money, come, buy, and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me, and eat what is good, and delight yourselves in rich food. Incline your ear and come to me. Listen, so that you may live. I will make with you an everlasting covenant, my steadfast, sure love for David. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake their way, and the unrighteous their thoughts. Let them return to the Lord, that he may have mercy on them, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain and the snow came down from heaven, and do not return there until they have watered the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose, and succeed in the thing for which I have sent it. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up cypress, instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle. And it shall be to the Lord for a memorial, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. This is the word of the Lord. Well, I haven't found a way to do all the things that I have wanted to do with you, and we have about 5 weeks left. Outings to wonderful places. We talked about some. Going to the Barnes Museum or the Brandywine Museum. Maybe not enough trips to Chester or Broad Street or Appalachia. But we did a few, and in a short time it has been an amazing, amazing experience. And it has been an honor to be with you. It is amazing in this world when we have such incongruities that we have wonderful things right before us. Beauty, order, intellect, culture. And then we have what Tom was talking about, a civil war in Nicaragua. Holding these two things in contrast is perhaps one of the hardest parts about being a Christian and making sense of things. How do we do this and have integrity? So the light things that I tend to enjoy so much and do are on that one side of seeing the beauty in front of you, the joy in front of you. So when Sarah and I went to the septic station to impart ashes, it was not really that Ash Wednesday-ish. It was a lot of fun. It was freezing, but fun. And burning palms to make ashes with the confirmands in the adult education class. Cooking fish like the sad disciples on Easter morning. Concrete, kinesthetic things, living the faith through these artistic ways and through action. You've heard us reflect on Appalachia and the Appalachia Service Project many times, but the power of that and the power of Broad Street are amazing, amazing aspects to hold sort of in the middle, because we're not living there and we're not staying there, and we know we are not stuck there. But it is an opportunity to move over and see that other side, as the trip to Nicaragua hopefully will be in the coming future. And then there's something about these last days together with you, these last weeks, that makes us awaken to a new way. As Wallace Stevens, the daytime insurance man and nighttime poet, says, death is the mother of beauty. Death is the mother of beauty. I haven't been to nearly as many bedsides as other ministers my age, but I was at a bedside 10 days ago of a great friend of mine, someone I looked up to, and I was very happy that I didn't have many regrets about our relationship, because we took some time together to do things that we both loved. We hiked, we watched deer wrestle in a meadow, we looked for chestnut remnants in the Smokies, and we waxed poetic about Scotland and the Iona community and our foundational Presbyterian church from Scotland. And I'm already missing my friend, but I know that he's watching his beloved family and the Nantahala River from the mists in the Smokies. And for me, it helps me and reminds me that in the face of death and all endings, it is so important to cherish each day and each moment. Well, when a prophet gives us a glimpse of beauty and calls us to enjoy something, it's rare, right? Prophets are usually the doom speakers. But prophets like Isaiah offer surprises. We tend not to read them for enjoyment or for personal prayer, with all the ranting and the raving, and then the grieving and the complaining just seems tiresome. But as Presbyterians and as Reformed thinkers, we have a broad understanding of how prophets function, not only looking to see when and where their predictions happen, that usually misses the point, but seeing their witness as an alternative witness to the dominant culture. Seeing the witness and hearing the witness to those who are forgotten. Our Nicaraguan brothers and sisters, and we can go down the list. Everyone has people that we know are forgotten. But meanwhile, today's passage is a surprise with beautiful poetry to bless this world in front of us. Isaiah invites us to a meal, a feast, to eat and drink wine and milk, but not to pay for it. Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and delight yourselves in rich food, not just Lenten soup and salad, but rich food, and incline your ear and come to me. Listen so that you may live. So it's hard to know how to get this present, to listen and to be there and be right here in front. To make each day your masterpiece. I was so delighted when I found this quotation from college basketball legend John Wooden, and my son used it in a chapel talk at his camp in the Adirondacks a few years ago. Be true to yourself. Help others. Make each day your masterpiece. Make friendship a fine art. Drink deeply from the good books, especially the Bible. Build a shelter against a rainy day. Give thanks for your blessings and pray for guidance every day. Thank you, Caleb, and thank you, John Wooden. This sermon could easily roll away into a romantic lightness, which would be my natural nature to strive towards an idealism and a romanticism. And it could become a kind of virtuous carpe diem, seize the day and be good. But that's all it covers because the bleakness lives just below the surface. I think many of us have to hide it. We know well this other side of what our prophets tell us. They remind us that things need to change, that the earth has been barren, that life is a constant struggle, and that the people Isaiah is speaking to have been stripped of their land, their dignity, their nation, their humanity. And if we choose to look deeply and listen, we will know injustice. And if we choose to join, we will know injustice and poverty and pain. It's always been there and it will always be. And when we do our soul accounting, when we pause during our prayer of confession or during the season of Lent, we can't help but come up a little short if we're absolutely honest. But that's the other part of Isaiah, and today we're blessed with an amazing moment. And we need to listen and be alert. Yesterday I was riding my bicycle by the library over here, from my house to here, and a striking bird caught my eye. It was a bald eagle overhead. Do you guys see bald eagles here in town? No one told me. So for me, that was a big deal. I'd only seen them out in remote places, but there it was, and sometimes maybe we're too busy to look up and see it. We might miss the eagle overhead. This morning I listened to what in one of our staff meetings was called the Symphony of Birds. Someone told Joyce about the Symphony of Birds, and we were trying to figure out if we could set up a service to hit that time just right. The morning Symphony of Birds. Well, these moments are moments to cherish. They're gifts of God. And since I haven't had that many opportunities to walk with the adults here, mostly with the children and youth, to walk with you outside and to pause in the Lord's sanctuary, this sacred earth, if you'll humor me and take a walk with me for a little bit, we might find some things. Better yet, put on your boots, sling a backpack over your shoulders, and hike with me. Up a ridge, above the tree line, starting out as our boots soften a little, we're a little bit chilly. And then we warm up quickly and we shed a layer. And we keep hiking up, and it's steep, and we're reaching higher and higher into the sky. And we get warm, and we start to get sweaty. And we keep hiking, and we keep taking in the vistas. The winds are blowing us at the higher elevation, and we start to chill. We get thirsty, and we drink our water, and we keep hiking, and we're so high up. We get thirstier and thirstier, and the pack seems to get heavier. We start to feel some pain, and maybe we even second guess our decision to take this little hike. And it's been a while up here, so high, so long, that there's no water in sight. The water's lower, and so we walk around thinking, what are we going to do? And we start to gather ourselves. Get yourself together, we need to go find some water. So we begin looking for water. And finally we know that something's different here. There's moss on these rocks, and they're greener. And we have to stop moving and let our breath calm and settle. And then we hear it. We hear a little trickle of water. And perhaps that's like the Holy Spirit. When we pause and breathe and see the signs and symbols around us, we might start to hear that trickle. And then we can follow it, and we follow it down through the talus rock field and go down into a small valley where that little trickle has become a stream with pools. We're high enough up to not worry about Giardia, and we bend down on our knees and we drink from the pool. We fill our water bottles. Perhaps this is a metaphor for what we need to do every day. And if not every day, if we can't fit that in every week, to pause, to breathe, to listen, to drink. Now, if we focus on the environmental difficulties, they're in that other hand here, and the degradation in which we participate, like the raw truth being held up to us, we will miss this vision. We will miss this moment. And even during Lent, when we are reflecting deeply and renouncing some of the things we need, may we hold this vision. May we seek beauty and goodness. I know that during the wars in Central America back in the 80s, there were usually 2 committees in each village. And I may have mentioned this before, I'm not sure. But it's such an amazing picture of people with nothing and with less than nothing. They're losing their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers. The war is thick. People are disappearing, and each town had 2 committees. One committee was for collecting the dead. And the other committee was for creating beauty and celebration. And they held these 2 together. So we don't stay stuck in one or the other, in the anxiety and the pain, nor the blissful romance, but we hold them together. What is Isaiah asking us to see here with such beauty? This invitation to bread and water. We've heard this so many times when we gather and when we gather as a community. This invitation to let down and be together. And what is Isaiah asking us to see in your world now? What is Isaiah asking you to see? In the midst of our personal struggles, which we all have, and we will continue to have, and our brothers and sisters will have and continue to have, the pain is wide. To only despair would be to miss this, to miss God's quiet work, like the trickle beneath the rocks. And as Jesus reminds us, the instinct is to cut that tree down in the parable. If it's not bearing, if it's not yielding fruit, to cut it and move. But the farmer knows and waits and knows that the nurture that we might call community, that we might call compassion, is what it takes to reach the capillary roots of that fig tree and to bring it back. He convinces the cutter to give it another year, and then he digs the manure in around the drip line. And may we too bring fresh ways of persevering, fresh ways of feeling and seeing beauty, and bring energy to our faith and to this struggling world.